us about the bye week. Just how did it go for you guys?
The bye week went well. We didn't stop. We just kept going, kept building on the things that we need to fix, and we're ready to go into this next week.
Talk about Liberty a little bit. Just kind of what are the things that have stood out on film as you've started preparing for them?
They're a well put together team. They got a lot of eye candy in their run schemes. Overall, they're just a pretty good team. So we're just ready to play, get ready to play them.
We didn't get to talk to you after that Louisville game, but your play on defense where you kind of came from the opposite side of the field to make the tackle for a loss has caught some attention on social media. Just kind of going back to that game, how do you think that play went, that game went for you personally?
I feel like I played within myself. I didn't really try to do too much because, playing a team like Louisville, you got to do your job. So that's all I really wanted to go out there and do and help the team win. But, we came up short, but it's all good at the end of the day.
What have you seen from Liberty's quarterback, Ethan Vasco, so far? I know you guys played him last year, but Coach was talking about, too, how it's a different scheme, so he's doing some different things. Just what have you seen from him so far?
Playing him from last year, he was a good quarterback last year. So going into this year, I feel like he's going to be even better. Even on film, he looked even better, be able to throw the ball a little bit more, and especially he going to put his head down and run the ball.
How do you kind of go about preparing to play such a physical quarterback in the run game?
We have a physical defense, so I don't think we're going to change anything on our end. We're just going to adapt to what they do and just make sure we study their scheme so we can dominate them.
Through 2 games, this defense really does seem to be stout, strong, maybe, getting in the conversation of one of the best, at least at the G5 level. What has allowed you guys to kind of continue what you did last year, this year, now under Coach Hitchler?
We're just playing within our brand. Coach Hitch has done a great job with us being able to just go out there and play within the brand, fly around, be physical, and be able to communicate as well. So he has really got us all together just to buy in and just go out there and play for each other.
And I know Jarvis mentioned coming off the bye week. How much do you guys think that having an early bye after a loss can kind of help propel you into this next chunk of the season?
It definitely helps us a whole lot, especially playing an opponent like Louisville so we could see where we're weak at, and then we could just go into this bye week, fix it, and then we're going to the rest of the season knowing what we fixed, and now we're just rolling.
DJ, half of the yards you guys gave up against Louisville came off of 2 just big explosive plays, that big run in the second half and that big catch at the beginning of the second half. Is there anything you guys have done specifically to kind of key in on stopping explosive plays, or is that just more situational to Louisville?
I feel like it's more situational. Of course you can't give up 2 big explosives, and that's what they have gotten, but it's really just situational, and we're just going to be even more locked in so we can prevent those from happening.
DJ, I know a lot of the guys or a lot of the community is excited about an in-state rival like Liberty and the 2 kind of fan bases going at it. Just, do you know a lot of those guys on the team, or how do you kind of feel about an in-state rivalry?
I don't know too many people on Liberty, but I know it's a couple South Carolina guys on the team. That's really all I know. But I know it's going to be great for Harrisonburg, JMU, just to go up there and win. We got to go up there and win for JMU, and especially it being a rivalry game, it means a whole lot.
Kind of going off that, I know, you're not from Virginia, but you've now played in some of these in-state games, and, JMU has that long history of beating in-state opponents. How fun is it to have that kind of, not even just with Liberty and it being a rivalry game now, but just having those in-state competition?
It's very exciting. It kind of makes the game bigger than what it is. It's just another game, but, you also have that hype behind the game, and it just motivates the guys, motivates the team to just go in there and take it 10 times as more serious.
Were you recruited by Liberty?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. What did DJ Barksdale do on his bye weekend?
My bye weekend, I just went back home, seeing some family, watched some high school football, and then watched football, some great games this weekend.
Let's go back to Rock Hill then?
Yes, sir.
How has your role changed in Coach Hitch's defense than what it was before?
I would just say I'm doing a lot more of everything. I'm still the nickel. The nickel does a lot of things in different ways, but I feel like I'm just doing more of everything. And then also communicating a whole lot more. That's what Hitch has challenged me to do, is just talk and be more of a vocal leader on the field.
Has that been a strength early this year? I know we've talked about it with some other guys, but the communication on the back end, especially with so many of you guys having played together for a while, has that been big for you guys early?
That's huge, being able just to know the guys around who you playing with for so long, you know what they're thinking already before even having to communicate that. So adding the communication part on top of that, it just excels us a whole lot more.
Coach Chesney was talking last week kind of about you and just playing the nickel in this defense. It's such a challenging position because you do have to do so much. Did you like going and playing some corner against Louisville when you bring another linebacker out?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I'm pretty versatile in the way I play. So them trusting me to be able to go out there and play corner just puts a whole lot more confidence in myself and my game.
You like playing corner?
Yes, I do.
This offense is a little bit different. A lot of triple option tendencies in what they do. Quarterback's going to run. They like to be physical. Is that fun for you guys to go up against a team like this? And is this a little bit different offense than what you're normally seeing?
Yes, it's totally different because, just like I said previously, they have a lot of eye candy where they're going to try to spray people out 3 different ways and then hide the football from you and just try to bust for a big run. So being able to play a team like this and a scheme like this, it is fun, but it's also going to be a challenging part where we have to lock in on our kids.
Wayne, at least from a box score perspective, it seems like a lot of the yards, a lot of the points Liberty gives up is on the ground. What are you kind of seeing from their rush defense so far?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a huge test to the running back room this week for James Madison, and I think we got a lot of the right schemes in, and we're going about it the right way to being able to just know that we have a deep group and just being able to put that on display and dominate this defense.
How important is it to have such a deep group, like 4 or 5 guys that can go out there and rush successfully when you're going up against a defense like this?
It's very important just because, it's a long season and, a lot of running backs get beat up throughout the season. So just being able to have this kind of depth is going to be huge for us moving forward, especially when we get into some of this conference play and some of these deeper games later in the season.
Similar to what I asked DJ, I know you're not from Virginia, but you've now been a part of several of these in-state games. What is it like when you are getting ready to play against a team that, is right down the road in some aspects?
It kind of just builds it up, a little bit more, obviously, being in-state, that kind of rivalry, just adds more to the game. And, regardless of who we play, nameless, faceless, we're going to bring what we have to do to the table, just being able to dominate this team. But, just kind of builds up more into it, the outside stuff.
You guys right now coming off this early bye, how nicely placed was it to kind of maybe take some time to focus on what went wrong in that Louisville game, to turn your attention, get some rest, and then get into this Liberty week?
It's always good to self-reflect and just being able to kind of, highlight some of those things that we missed or some of those things that we need to work on just a little bit more. So, being able to have this opportunity was huge for us, and I think we took full advantage of this bye week, just being able to, self-reflect on a lot of things that we did wrong against Louisville and just being able to move past it and being able to correct those things.
Hey, Wayne, first of all, where did you guys improve the most during that bye week? I know there was a lot about kind of facing correction, but where do you guys feel like you got better on the offensive side of the ball?
Coach Hitch, he says it a lot, just being able to play within the brand. We have a lot of guys on offense who can go, and we got a lot of guys on offense who's going to make plays for us. And, just being able to get back to that and understanding, who's our key guys to go to, what it is that we have to do as an offense to be successful. And, I think we kind of went back to the drawing board and, getting back to what we do best.
I know DJ was talking about how this game coming up, it's like any other game, but kind of helps in a way bring some extra juice when it is an in-state rival. Is that probably like the best way to describe this, would you say, where it's like any other game, but does bring a little bit of extra juice?
Definitely brings a little bit of extra juice, just being able to play in state and have that kind of, dominance over the other teams in state, is always a win for a program like JMU or any school in Virginia. But like I said, it kind of just builds onto it, builds a little more hype around the game. But at the end of the day, we have to execute what we have to do and play within the brand.
Kind of going off that question, did this bye week feel any different motivation-wise, just based on where it's placed?
I wouldn't say so. The schedule was made. We dealt the cards that we, were dealt, and I think we just took full advantage of the bye week. Whether it was placed a week later or a week earlier, and at the end of the day, we're gonna follow the brand and just continue to be ourselves.
Did you watch Yamir on Saturday?
Absolutely.
He had his best game.
Yeah. I mean, they said they were going to get him involved a little more, so that was exciting.
How is it playing without him now? Just kind of being on. I know you've done it before. And
Yeah.
You were here first, but how has it been without him?
It's been fine. We're kind of both on, our two separate journeys, and just being able to focus on myself a little more. I know he's going to be good over there, and he's going to, do what he has to do, and he's expecting the same out of me over here. So.
What kind of has transformed you a little bit over the past year or so? Obviously, starting the first 2 games here and getting more carries. Obviously, the coaches have a lot of trust in you. What's different in your game right now than maybe even a year ago?
I would say, just playing with a little more confidence and being able to lead some of these other guys. That's a big thing that, we kind of lacked a little last year. And, I kind of took forth to just being able to step up to that plate and kind of lead these guys a little more in the right direction, when things aren't going well or when things are going really well, just being able to reassure these guys and, just make sure we're all on the same page all the time.
I know you probably don't reflect on this a whole lot, but just a couple of years ago where you were to where you are now, do you think about that at all and how far you've come and the journey that you've had to take to get to where you're at?
Absolutely. I used to think about it a lot more, but, being now in the present, I kind of try to stay away from that. But, definitely grateful for, being able to be here and being able to contribute to this team and, get us a lot of wins this season. It's definitely, a blessing in disguise. So.
I said the word trust earlier. Is that something that you and the coaching staff have really built, that bond, that trust?
100%.
Over the last couple of years?
100%. Just being able to, them see me, how I work, how I go on the field and what I can do for the team. And then on the other hand, me seeing them, scheme up plays and, just kind of teach us these little intricacies of the game and just being a student of that, it's mutual both ways. So.
Going back to the in-state rivalries, I think Virginia may be the state of Virginia may be a little bit different than some other states where, on a national level, it's not the same team every single year that's getting that recognition and being kind of tabbed as the unanimous best team in the state. How much do you guys think a game like this kind of adds some excitement that, it is up for grabs kind of who's going to be the best from Virginia so far this year?
Yeah, it gives us a little bit of bragging rights. Just being able to know that, we're going to dominate the state of Virginia year in and year out. And, Liberty, we haven't played them in a little while. So just being able to, knock these guys off and, continue to maintain our crown is going to be huge for the state of Virginia and James Madison University.
You mentioned it there, too, that it's been, I think, 11 years since these two programs have met, but it's one of those that fans are always engaging with each other and talking about their football programs. So how exciting is it to even just see that they are kind of rebuilding this rivalry and bringing it back?
It's definitely exciting. I haven't played Liberty. This is going to be a first time for me, a first time for many of the other people. And, just being able to get this opportunity to, go down there and, paint their field purple is going to be, a fun and exciting game.